is Mel from Mel Coop here on YouTube and on Instagram, Mel Coop Gets Fit.
I'm going to put the links to her Instagram and YouTube channel in the description box below. But today we're going to be answering some questions that some people have about BMT.
So the first question is the hardest part of BMT. For me, the hardest part of BMT was getting along with 40 other people in the dorm all the time. You wake up, you eat, you work out with them all the time. So that was the hardest part for me. I don't know about for him, but that was really, really hard for me.
Hardest part for me was trying not to offend anyone because I cuss a lot and there's a lot of rules. You can get recycled or in trouble for saying the wrong thing.
And a lot of people get butthurt. They just become really sensitive at BMT for some reason. So that goes into getting along with 40 other people. Another thing is being homesick. For me, I wasn't really homesick until like the first phone call or the second phone call, and I started crying, and I just kept thinking of him all the time, my husband. But I know some other people who dealt with it a lot more, like every day. I don't know about.
I didn't really start feeling homesick until like 7th week when I knew my family was on their way, and I was just like really anxious to see them. But when they got here, I was kind of irritated with them. You know, you're so used to meeting like timelines and everything, and you've got your family, and they're moving so slow. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed them. Next question is how to prepare for BMT. I said this in my last video, but to basically hit Thunderbolt standard before you get to BMT. I don't know what the standards are, but it's basically getting a 90 on your overall PT score or above.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, preparing for BMT when it comes physically would help you also be less prone to injuries, which is something you see all the time. People get injured all the time. I was injured, and I think I could have probably done a little more than what I was doing and stretching right and just watching myself even while at BMT.
Other things that you want to prepare for is memorizing the Air Force song and creed, because it's just one less thing you have to worry about, and I'm pretty sure you have to have that memorized by the end of your 0 week, so it's just one less thing you have to worry about.
I think it would also help, like, I just thought about this, but if you learned the ranking, knowing the ranking does help, and it would help in your future career as well.
Get used to giving a reporting statement too.
Yeah. I always mixed up the sir and ma'am, and I'd just be looking at the sir and I'd say ma'am for some reason, or vice versa. So yeah, get comfortable with it like really quickly.
All right, things that happened during BMT that I wasn't expecting. I had a lot of free time. Like I think after about chow time, your last chow time, you had like an hour mandatory study time, and then the rest of the time was really yours to get things done as far as your wall locker.
Mm-hmm. Dry cleaning.
Yeah, dry cleaning and just cleaning up your area. And even after chow, the MTIs weren't really around. You weren't being babysat, even though like most days felt like daycare. And base liberty, I got a lot of base liberty. Not like most other flights.
Yeah,
but,
like mine.
Yeah. And I'll cover base liberty in a different video. And I had a lot of time to eat. I think you ate like 10 minutes or something, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
it is a lot.
It really is a lot of time.
It is. The free time, like after the 3rd week, like we were left alone a lot. Like you just had to learn to be responsible and learn what you were supposed to be doing and doing your details quickly so that you had your own free time. The next question is, will my running time decrease, or how would my PT get better? This was something that I wasn't really expecting because I knew that I was going to be physical, but I didn't see how because I worked out so much. Like 9 months before, I was already losing a lot of weight, and I didn't see how my run time was going to decrease and how I was going to do more push-ups like within their standards. And I did. I shaved off 2 minutes off my time. We ran all the time. And doing push-ups, the only way to get better at push-ups, you do 1x3s, which is essentially doing more push-ups. So it did really help, and you're constantly doing it 6 days a week.
Also, like when you PT in the mornings, it's kind of easy to kind of just skate by and like not push yourself. But if you actually try during like in the mornings when you do PT or in the afternoons and you push yourself, you will get better. Next question: how to stay awake during class? Huffing
Hand
hand
sanitizer.
sanitizer.
I thought I was the only person who did that.
No, yeah. Huffing hand sanitizer. There's hand sanitizer in the front of the classrooms.
And in your
and
satchel.
you just go, in your satchel. You're supposed to carry that around with you anyways. But yeah, just dump some hand sanitizer and just sniff it, just inhale it all. The other ways I stayed awake was you can stand up in the back of the classroom. Like, really, it's such a stupid thing to get in trouble for falling asleep in class. You can get up and just stand in the back of the class. Don't be lazy. Also, you can, depending on your instructor, but for the most part, you can always just get up in the middle of class and go use the bathroom. So I would just get up in the middle of class and just go walk outside to the bathroom and just kind of hang out there for a second, get it together, and then I would head back, and I'd be okay for the rest of class. All right, what is EC and how does it work? First of all, EC stands for entry controller. So in the dorms, there's one way in that every trainee goes in through, and during the duty day and while people are in the dorm, there's supposed to be 2 ECs. It's exactly what it sounds like. You control who enters and exits that dorm. There's procedures you have to go through, and it's like the top thing most people get recycled for because they failed to do their duty right. They work in 2-hour shifts. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week, unless you're in class. Obviously, no one's up there, so you don't have to do EC. But even overnight at like 12:30, that's like the worst. That's when it starts getting crappy. 12:30 to 2:30, 2:30 to 4:30, and the best shift, in my opinion, was at 4:30 to 6:30, because you wake up like an hour before everyone else does. You get ready. You can kind of take your time getting ready, and then you're good.
Are you allowed to bring electronics to BMT? Simply put, do not bring any electronics other than your cell phone and your cell phone charger. Like, if you have anything other than that, it'd probably be going down to CQ. Do not tell your family members that they can bring it to you before you go to tech school at graduation, because you will not be getting it, and you'd be very disappointed, like me.
When you get closer to graduation and like graduation weekend, they'll let you know how you can get your electronics. And when you get to your first tech school, within the first like 2 or 3 days, you're going to get your mailing address, and then your family can just ship whatever they need to you.
Quick.
The next question: are they allowed to force you to do push-ups?
Yes and no.
Yeah. They have this thing called motivational tools, I guess, where the MTI will, if the flight is like kind of being undisciplined.
Or need more motivation.
Yeah, they'll have you get on the ground and like do push-ups or flutter kicks or whatever, but they can't go for more than 2 minutes. And let's put it this way: my first week, our whole flight got in trouble because some kid decided to poke a swastika in one of the SARC papers. Our MTI was beyond pissed off. The only thing that he could do was make us do push-ups, flutter kicks, and squat thrusts for 2 minutes, and then he left.
You do it for a lot of other things too. Like, ours definitely like to do it for not making our beds fast enough or not falling out fast enough. And we did it for like the first 3 weeks, but after then it's just like highly encouraged to do it on your own.
Yeah, see, my flight never did that. We weren't forced to do anything. I was band flight. We kind of had it easier, I guess.
Yeah, no. What were the MTIs like? I did not expect... I expected my MTIs to be like really strict and like a coach, like telling you this is what you have to do, this is what we expect of you. And they were more like a mentor. Like, they really helped me a lot, and when I was struggling and stuff, they seen that and they tried to give me advice, and especially when it came to PT, they were really motivating. And I wasn't expecting that. Like, you see different sides of them, and they're just basically a great mentor to help shape you.
Yeah, with my flight, it took us like the first 3 or 4 weeks for our flights finally start working together. But our MTI would always be a mix between like yelling at us and then calling us all into the day room, and he would just like sit down and talk and be like, hey, what's going on? What do I need to do? Or what do you guys need to do for you guys to learn how to work together? Because this is like, that's part of the reason why you're in basic training, is because you need to learn how to work together with complete strangers. Especially when you like deploy, you're going to deploy with different branches. And you have to work together to accomplish the mission, because that's what's most important, not your personal feelings, getting the mission done.
What are details? So details are basically, there's 2 different types of details. There's details that your whole flight does on a daily basis, which is like chores within the dorm. And then there's details where the squadron assigns your flight to go do like clean out the CQ area, or do KP duty, or pull out weeds, or whatever the base needs. All I have to say is go for hallway crew.
Hallway crew or day room crew.
Yeah.
Or sweeper.
Yeah, or sweepers. I was in the bed display, but like towards the end, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, they kind of got rid of that detail, and the shoe aligners took over that detail along with the bed aligners. Latrine crew is probably the worst.
It was the worst. People volunteered for that too. Do not. They get in trouble all the time.
If your flight gets really good, you find a lot of shortcuts, and I think our last 2 weeks, our flight was getting details done in like 15-20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went from like the worst flight ever to like the best flight. We worked so well together. Most of us didn't like each other, but we were able to work things out because we had a mission to do, and that was graduate. So you get the hell out of there, and we did.
And the last thing I want to say when it comes to doing this, what to expect when you're going to BMT, expect or try to be as respectful to each other. We are all coworkers. Everyone's your coworker, and some people lose sight and they think it's boot or summer camp or something, but it's not. Keep that mentality. This is your career. You don't want to screw anything up. Like, don't screw it up by yelling at another person and being rude and disrespectful.
All right, so that's it. I will cover in a different video how to prepare for BMT as far as PT, and also kind of like privileges you get during BMT. I mentioned base liberty. I had a lot of that.
Don't expect that either.
Yeah,
Do not
don't
expect anything.
Don't
because
expect
our
it.
flight only got the mandatory one, and then we won Beast Excellence and only got an hour and a half.
Yeah, no,
Don't expect it.
our flight was great. We got a lot of base liberty.
We were cool too, but...
All right, so yeah, that's it. I'll try to put up these videos by the end of the week.
And I'll be making some videos going from week to week of what you can expect at BMT, and it's probably not going to be up for like a month or two.
All right, you guys have a great day.